Please excuse my little baby tea light. I was looking, oh no! Okay, this is why I need to buy an actual tripod. As I was saying, excuse the little baby tea light. I was looking through my candles and I saw this one, it just called out to me. It's purple and lavender scented, although I don't know how scented a little tiny tea light candle could be, but anyway, on with the show. Hey there, witches. It's Tiffany here with another episode of Bewitching.Bemused, and today we're talking about sigils. What are they? What do they do? How do you make them? How do you charge them? All of that fun stuff. Sigils, just to simplify it, are a form of spell work that uses your subconscious mind in order to manifest your intentions. As we all know, like being human and all, the conscious mind is constantly overrun with random thoughts, desires, wants, anxieties, fears. And the idea is that utilizing your subconscious mind as opposed to your conscious mind for spell work avoids all of that stuff getting mixed up and entangled with your magical intentions. As we all know, if you lose focus, you can possibly self-sabotage. And then of course, like according to chaos magic, there is the concern that if you want something, your intention, and you want it too much, that gets mixed up with your actual intention. So your intention becomes, I want this thing to manifest. And therefore, once that's your intention, it automatically comes true because you already want it to manifest. So you worked magic just not exactly the way you wanted it to, and you did it with pretty instantaneous results. So this is a way to help bypass that. But more detail on that later. If you're coming from a background of really ritualistic magic or complex spells with all these different ingredients, you might look at something like that and go, how is that even a spell? Well, don't worry, it totally is. And this right here, all you need is a pen and paper in its simplest form. And so this is a great spell for broom closet witches, and of course, witches who are limited on what ingredients they can obtain, or if you're just working on the fly. I have thrown sigils together while at work, just like, I need this thing now. Maybe not now. A big reason why, in my opinion, sigils are a lot of fun is in order to, just burrow them into your subconscious mind, what you want to do is take your intention and make it really, what's the word I'm looking for? Abstract. That's the word I'm looking for. You take your intention and make it really abstract. So let's say you want meatballs. I say that because I'm making meatballs in the crock pot right now. But say, hypothetically, that you have this burning desire, craving for meatballs, right? So your intention would be, I have meatballs. I'll get more into the present tense of the phrasing of the intention a little bit later. So you take that and you transform it into this abstract form. And that can take two, and I'm just going to go over two today, but there are other forms that it could take. Two types of, representations of it. That would be either pictorial or a mantra. And now here is a fun little cutaway to show you how it's done.
Okay, so this is literally all you need is a pen and a piece of paper. No special paper unless you want to, but it's really not necessary. The first thing you're going to do is write out your intentions. So let's say you want to manifest, you're short on cash, you need just enough money to get you gas through, to carry you through the end of the week. So let's say I'm going to write this in all caps. It helps, in my opinion, make the whole process easier. First of all, you want to keep it short like this. Technically that's up to you, but the reason I encourage this is because if you end up with the whole freaking alphabet to work with, it's just really going to complicate things and it's just going to make it harder on yourself. But there's really no limit on how many words you can use. Point number 2 is that you want to keep it positive. You have $20. Let's say the reason that you don't have that money is because, you have debts that you've been paying off. So you wouldn't want to write, I don't have debt. Instead, you would want to say, I have the means to rid myself of debt. Something like that. That's just one example, but keep it positive because you don't want to confuse the universe and then wind up with, more debt or less gas or whatever. The final thing I want to say about writing these out, choosing what you're going to say, is to keep it in the present tense. I have $20. Now, if you were to write, I want $20, well, here's where that can get muddled. When you manifest the desire, I want $20, you can manifest that, no problem. It's going to happen instantaneously because all you manifested was the want for the $20 as opposed to you actually having $20, right? I hope that makes sense. So keep it fairly short. It doesn't have to be this short, but keep it fairly short. Put it in the present tense and keep it positive. The next thing you're going to do is cross out any repeated letters. So let's see, we've got 2 E's, we've got 2 T's, don't need that, 2 A's, 2 L's, and we wind up with IH. We wind up with that. Now, some people will also remove the vowels. This is entirely up to you. I sometimes do this, this is a little bit long, so for the sake of this video, we'll count Y as a vowel. For the sake of this video, to keep it a little more simple, a little simpler, we will remove those. Sorry, apparently I cannot talk and write at the same time. Okay. But that's up to you. You can leave the vowels if you want. So there are 2 methods to what we're going to do here. And both of them take this. This is the bare minimum of what, this is just this whittled down. And this has already made this into an abstract concept. So we're just going to make it, even more into some sort of abstract, either picture or phrase. Right? So if I was going to do the phrase, I probably would have left the vowels in. So let me do the mantra version off of that. Because I like to cross out as I go, so I know that I haven't missed anything. So actually, I'm going to put that, ignore that. Okay, so if we were doing basically you are just going to rearrange these into something, it's not nonsensical, it is, but it's an abstract version of it. So I might do it like this. Okay, and there you have it. And you can really pronounce this however you want. So Slevd Rinhad Oe. It's entirely up to you. You've just taken this and whittled it down to this abstract mantra. And now when I go over the ways to charge these things, you can recite it during sympathetic spell work. You can say it over and over and over again until it completely loses meaning to you. There are so many ways to work with the mantra, and I think they're a lot of fun because you're just kind of creating this really cool sounding spell thing. And yeah, so that's that. It's easy. It's super simple. That's that. Okay, moving on. So the sigil, the actual sigil work, picture, you would take these letters, and you can also, like I said earlier, do it with or without the vowels, and create a picture out of it. So let's see. It's really up to you. You can do it any way, shape, or form. Personally, I like to try to make the picture sort of represent what I'm going after. So I might take this and make it look almost like a dollar bill. Like, take this H first. And boom, there's my H. So it's kind of rectangular in the shape of a $20 bill. It's not very pretty, but what can you do? And I might create something that looks like it's growing. Like here, we'll add the V here, and I might make it like fun. Like, it doesn't have to be an exact V. And make it look like it's growing, because I'm looking for a little bit of growth. I want to obtain this $20. And then just, sort of add to it and have fun with it, really. This is going to be pretty sloppy because I'm, not really. This isn't anything I'm actually working with, so sorry. I'm on. You guys have me on the spot, so now I'm like, ooh, my drawing is awful. Ooh, I especially like that because the S creates a $sign, so I like that. So like I mentioned earlier, it doesn't have to look exactly like, so I decided like, oh, I'll create a little arrow because my funds are going up, they're growing, I'm gaining something. So I made a D into like a little arrow point. You can also say like, oh, there's already an L here. I mean, I just outlined it to kind of, I went over it again to sort of, you know, amplify it for this video, but you don't need to. And then where should we put this R? Okay, and once again, just combo it up. And it's really, I mean, this is ugly. It would work. It would work fine. Sometimes I like to add little, like, just make it a little nicer looking. I might add a little something to make it, you know, more like money. I don't know, whatever. But I think that's enough to give you the general idea of what we're going for here is, yeah, it's just taking this and turning it into that. You don't have to do anything crazy fancy with it. It's really just for you. It doesn't need to be an immaculate piece of artwork, right? It just, I mean, this is fine. This would totally work for this.
Okay, and back to present day since I filmed that like 3 days ago. At this point, you have either written your mantra or drawn your sigil. And now is when you're gonna charge it, which gets a little complicated. Not that it's hard to do, but there's just a lot of different ways that you can go about charging your sigil. If you are going to go the chaos magic route, what your goal would be to charge it, or sorry, focus on it while you achieve, or when you achieve gnosis. I go into a lot more detail on what gnosis is and the practice of it, or, you know, utilizing it in your craft in the video I made, I think just last week, about the four of the most common magical methods, which I'll link up in this corner. Where would it be? Right? Boop, right up there. But just to give you a quick, brief little, you know, summary of what I said there, gnosis is an altered state of consciousness. And the two most popular ways of achieving this is through inhibitory means or excitatory means. So inhibitory would be like meditation. You completely clear your mind. You hit a moment of such calm and mental clarity, and that's when you focus on your sigil and boom, it's charged. Excitatory would be the opposite, where you're using means of kind of overstimulation, or I mean excitement, it's called excitatory for a reason, to really ramp up your energy to a point of, again, clear focus. You'll see everywhere on the internet and in books that the most popular form of this is orgasm, by yourself or with a friend, significant other, whoever. But of course, this can be done in various other ways like dancing, singing, chanting, and my personal favorite would be through exercise. Now, of course, not everybody practices this way, and of course, you've got people who have tried it and feel like it just doesn't quite work for them. So there are other ways to charge your sigils. Some people spit on their sigils, and some people will kind of, you know, like blow, like they're blowing them off the paper. You might carve it into something. Like I believe on my altar tour video, I showed this little like clay tile I had made where I had drawn the sigil and then I carved it and then baked it, and to me that was sort of like a charging process. You can also use visualization, sort of a form of meditation, but it's more about visualizing, you know, meditate, get into a good meditative state, maybe not like full-blown gnosis, but a meditative state where you can visualize the sigil maybe like glowing and then lifting off the paper and just like, I don't know, like shooting out a window towards your objective, or, you know, into the universe. There's been times where I've formed like an energy ball and then in the center of the ball, you know, visualized my sigil, and then so when I release the energy ball, it kind of like sends off the sigil with a like blast of energy. You can also use the elements. That is a really fun way to do it. So if you're using fire, you could carve it into a candle, burn the candle down.
write it in the air with incense smoke, or like, you know, the lit tip of incense where you can kind of like whoosh, and you can like see the leftover line from the light. Draw it on a piece of paper and then burn said piece of paper. You can use water, draw it onto the surface of still water, or go to the ocean or a river bank or something and draw it into the dirt or on the sand and let the water wash it away and carry it out for you. You can write it on something biodegradable or water soluble, like a water soluble crystal, and then either put that into, you know, natural water, the ocean, rivers, lakes, whatever, or you can just like soak it in a cup of water. Air, once again, you can use the incense smoke like I mentioned earlier. Draw it on something biodegradable and let it like release it with a gust of wind. Draw it on some wind chimes and hang them up. And finally, earth. Once again, grab something biodegradable, and that could be toilet paper or a leaf or a crystal. Draw it on there and then bury it. Draw it directly into the earth and then like cover that up with more earth. Draw it onto the leaf of a growing plant, although I don't recommend, you know, carving it directly into like a tree trunk or something. Okay, so now your sigil is created, it's charged. What do you do with it? Well, as mentioned in my magical methods video, different people have different opinions on this. Some people recommend that you completely forget it. That way it is solely buried in your subconscious and your conscious mind just ceases to think about it. And a lot of meditation is required, or I should say meditative practice is required in order to not have it pop up in your mind all the time. So throw away whatever paper or item that you drew it on and then just try to forget about it. And anytime the intention or the sigil or the mantra pops up in your head, just push it away. So then you have another group who doesn't agree with that. And that might be because either they just feel like it's not that big of a deal to remember it, or you also have people that feel like the more you think about it, the more you're feeding it. You're just like feeding energy and recharging that sigil, kind of keeping it fresh and alive. So like after you've charged it, it's already buried in your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is already at work. So your conscious mind, if it's floating around in there, it's okay. So as you can tell, like as simple as sigils are to make and to charge, the actual belief system behind them, like how they work, why they work, it's all over the place. So the thing for you to do here is just experiment with it, especially because it's not like you're using some super expensive spell ingredient to work a sigil. You just have to draw it, and then like, sure, you spend some time drawing it, creating it, and charging it. At worst, you're gonna lose like 10 minutes of your life to a spell that didn't work. But hey, we've all been there before, am I right? I've tried both methods, you know, remembering it and also forgetting it. And I find that if I walk a middle ground, that's usually where I'm gonna get the most success. I charge it, and then yeah, like I get rid of the actual like paper I drew it on. And then what I try to do is, if the intention pops in my head, that is the part that I try to push away, and I just try to picture what my sigil looked like, especially because sigils look pretty cool. So boom, that's it. That's all I have to say on sigils. Please, if you have any questions about any of the content I just covered, leave it in the comments below or shoot me an email. I am on Instagram. I freely admit I don't update it that often, so sorry. Let me know, like, if you like this video, I mean, yeah, if you enjoyed watching this video, like it so I know to create more content like this one. If you're not already subscribed, please do so. I'd love to have you in my little community. Yep, that's all. That's it. All right. Happy sigilizing.